hope you're having an amazing day so far. We are coming to you with our 10th day of the 66-day challenge, and I want to kind of jump in really quick because I have a lot of background to give, and then I think we have an amazing application that will apply to all of our lives. So just real quick on the background, what we see is that God tells Peter, hey Peter, I want you to eat of meat that is unclean. And Peter says, no, I would never do that. And he says it again, eat the meat, Peter. And then Peter says, no, I would never do that. And finally God says, Peter, in the vision, he says, Peter, don't call what I have made clean unclean. So it kind of sounds like a confusing story at first until we go all the way back to Leviticus chapter 11, where we learn about what is clean and what is unclean. And what we learn is that there are certain animals, like a pig, that God says these are unclean animals. Don't eat these. And there are other animals that God says this is okay to eat. This is a clean animal. Something like a deer. And he also says that this is true for the fish. Like any fish with a scale, you can eat it. So like a bass today or a brim today, that would be okay to eat. But in Leviticus 7 it says that anything without scales is unclean. So for example, that would be catfish. We could not eat catfish in Leviticus 11. Now you may ask the question, why were there clean and unclean animals? What's the point? So I just want you to use your imagination really quick. Suppose that I live in a hot climate like the Israelites, and I was living in the desert for hundreds of years as a society, and I killed a pig. How long do you think it would take for that pig to go bad? A day, maybe? 2 days? 3 days tops before it starts to get maggots and starts to ruin in the hot sun? Now, if you had a deer, which is a lot more leaner of an animal, you could strip it up into small bites and make jerky or dehydrate the meat so it would last a lot longer in those hot climates. Now, what's the point? The point is that thousands of years later, come to Acts chapter 10, they have discovered salt. Jesus taught about that. They have discovered ice, how to freeze water. They also had discovered tanners and how to tan the meat and tan the skins to make all the meat last a lot longer, so it wasn't going to be as dangerous. That's just one. There's at least one more reason that God made things clean and unclean, and we can talk about that later, but that seems to be a pretty one of the few reasons that God may have seen to call some animals clean and other animals unclean. Alright, so when God looks at Peter and says, hey look, this is clean now, don't call what I have made clean unclean, that brought up a really big question in my life, and that is God calling me away from something that He once called me to? Now I want to answer that question for me because it's personal in a way, but I want to ask you the same question. Is God calling you away from something that maybe at one time He called you to? Because that's exactly what He's doing to Peter right now. He had once called them away from unclean animals, now He's calling them to. He once called them to clean animals, and now He's saying there's no difference. Maybe He's calling you away from a relationship. Maybe He's calling you away from a job. Maybe He's calling you away from an opportunity. Maybe He's calling you away from a way of thinking. Maybe He's calling you away from a habit that maybe at one point in your life God has called you towards. So I'm just going to kind of leave that question as an open-ended question to you. And once again, I just want to say happy Valentine's Day and thank y'all so much. I know this chapter was a little bit hard to understand. It kind of needed some context wrapped around it, but I hope I did an okay job explaining that. And if you will, leave your application or what you got from the chapter in the comment section below. And we will see y'all next time. We were supposed to have Kat speak today, but she is at work. So she will be online tomorrow, hopefully, with chapter 11. So until next time, peace.